All right, let's jump right in. You've probably seen this happen before, right? One team comes up with a brilliant idea, a great new way of working, and it just stops there. It becomes this little island of awesome that never spreads. So the real question is, how do you take that one small win and turn it into a ripple effect that changes the entire organization? Let's get into it.
I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? This is what separates a one-off fluke from a real, lasting change in how your company operates. It's about going from, oh, that's just how that team does it, to this is how we do things around here. And the secret? It's all about creating an intentional ripple effect.
So where does a big change like this even begin? Well, think about a stone dropping into a quiet pond. That's exactly it. Massive, organization-wide change almost always kicks off with one small, successful project. You don't need some huge top-down mandate to get started. Honestly, it usually works better when you don't.
That first drop, the one that creates the very first ripple, it comes from a really simple loop. A team just tries something new. They learn as they go from what worked and, just as importantly, what didn't. And then they get a good result. That single success story becomes your proof, your evidence that maybe, just maybe, there's a better way to get things done.
Okay, so you've got that first win under your belt. Now what? The next move is to spread it on purpose. But, and this is super important, this isn't about marching around and forcing every other team to copy you exactly. It's about shifting from a rigid, adopt mindset to a much more flexible and, frankly, more powerful adapt mindset.
See, this shows that scaling success isn't some kind of dark art. It's a process you can actually follow. First, you share what you learned. You tell the story, show the data, explain what happened. Then, you let other teams either adopt your solution as is or, and here's the magic, adapt it to fit their own world. And finally, you turn it all into a continuous cycle so the learning never ever stops.
And this, right here, is the crucial difference. Adopting is basically just copy and paste. You know, sometimes it works, but a lot of the time it fails because every team's situation is a little different. Adapting, though. Adapting is about grabbing the core principles of what made it work and then tweaking the solution to solve your own unique problems. That's where you get change that actually sticks.
So here's the thing. This whole framework, it's not really about spreading just one idea. The true end game is so much bigger than that. It's about fundamentally rewiring the company's DNA to build what you could call a culture of inquiry.
This is where we want our ripples to lead. Not just to a better process for doing expense reports, but to a company-wide vibe where curiosity and learning are just the default. An atmosphere where everyone, everywhere, is always asking themselves, hey, how can we make this better?
But what does a spirit of inquiry actually feel like day to day? Well, it means that when a project fails, the first question is always, what did we learn from this? Not whose fault is this? It means people feel safe enough to try new things even if they might not work. It's where information flows freely instead of being stuck in silos. It's a place that's just constantly, restlessly, looking for the next little improvement. And ultimately, building that kind of culture is what keeps the whole thing going. It makes sure that this cycle of learning and improving isn't a one-time event. It creates not just one ripple, but a constant series of them that keeps the entire organization on its toes, ready to evolve. It's the engine that keeps that flame of curiosity burning bright.
So how do you actually get started with all this? Look, knowing the theory is great, but creating change means you have to go out and do it. And the best part is, you don't have to be the CEO or have a giant budget. It all starts with you, with one successful cycle and being willing to share what you learned with someone else.
Which brings us right here to the last and most important question. I want you to think about your job, your team. Where's that little pocket of success that you could share? What's that small win you could build on? Really think about it. What ripple are you going to start?